Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. It is August the 21st, 2025. Tonight, open mic. You atheists, skeptics, or just Christians got a question, we'll try to answer if we can. I've been studying the Bible for 56 years. There's a whole lot of it I still don't know, but I'll tell you what I do know. And we're going to have open mic. Really, I know do know that evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religion in the history of the world. Never been a dumber idea than to teach the kids you're related to a tomato and you all came from a rock, which came from a dot of nothing exploding out of nowhere. That's dumb. Joseph, is there a kinder word to say? Dumb, stupid, idiotic? If you want to believe that, fine, but don't call it science. You're polluting good science with your stupid religion of evolution. Call in, prove me wrong. Okay, a couple things. You had a question up there, Joseph. I wanted to start with that. I thought, here we go. Hang on, we're on a bunch of channels first. Let's see, on Facebook, on Rumble. Now, Brighton only has the archives of the videos about Kent Hovind is innocent, stuff like that. About my case where they put me in jail for no reason. Okay. Let's see. So go there if you want to watch all that stuff. We're on TikTok, our app, Kent Hovind TV, and Instagram and X and all them stuff. Sign up for all of them. They're free. We'll pay for it. And if they take us off of one, you get us on something else. Okay. Push one of them buttons and something. So like our channel, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And if you want to support us, go to our 777 Club. Go to drdino.com. Say, I like what you're doing. I'm going to help support you. This crab, brother, this has been, the guy donated the world's largest horseshoe crab up in Ohio. We took it apart in a bunch of pieces and brought it down. Josh, you've been working on it like hard. It was a great blessing to get the crab. And Ben, thank you so much. But what does that cost us so far to put it together, transport it here, fiberglass it, and now paint it? Probably 10,000. Yeah. So it's cool, but nothing like free. So it's going to be really cool when we get it done. Come see the Noah's Ark we're building. Boot camp's coming up here soon. If you want to come to that, we'd love to have you. Coming up next Friday, okay? Let's see, get our series on creation series. This one's by far the best seller. And $50 for 18-hour seminars on creation versus evolution. We believe the Bible is true. Evolution is dumb, real dumb, worse than dumb, dangerous. Get our series on what's going to happen. Okay, I want to go to slide number, let's see, 2. Enter. Oh, no, here. The peppered moth. Okay, first though, Joseph, what was that question you had? I thought that was an interesting one. And if you want to call in or send a question in, please do. I was wondering if you ever heard of or would consider covering the Bronze Age collapse in a scriptural perspective. As you know, it appears to have happened around the time of the Exodus. Okay, Todd, good question. Let me give you the Hovind perspective here. There's no such thing as a Bronze Age, okay? No such thing. The Bible teaches God made Adam about 6,000 years ago, and the people before the flood lived to be 900 years old. Adam came fully formed from the hand of God, a fully loaded computer. He could walk, talk, name the animals, and get married first day. So then he could walk with God for probably 100 years and learn a bunch more stuff. And then he lived for 930 years. How much could you learn in 930 years? He spoke every language in the world. There's only one, but he spoke it, okay? And so it was just a different world back then. I think man was way far ahead of what we are today back in those days. They're finding all kinds of strange things about these giant megalithic structures. We couldn't build them today. You can't move a 70-ton stone 450 feet off the ground. How did they do it? I don't know. They knew something. So I think the whole idea that there was a Stone Age and then a Bronze Age and then an Iron Age is absolutely stupid, okay? No such thing. I think after the flood, they get off the ark and they come into a devastated world. You got to start over. How many saw the movie Castaway? Tom Hanks, you see that one? The guy was extremely intelligent. Now he's stuck on an island with nothing. So what do? You make stone tools to get started. You got to cut the tree down to get the firewood to cook your supper. So you don't have an iron tool. So it may take a while to rebuild after a disaster like that. And so there might be a Stone Age is not an indication that people were stupid or primitive. They just lacked the either the resources to do it or were just in a hurry to cook supper. So I totally disagree with all this business about saying, oh, man used to be ancient and ancient man used to be stupid, like a monkey. And he's slowly learning how to chip away at tools. No, that's dumb. They were far advanced compared to us today. They knew things we don't even know yet. Okay, that's my Hovind theory on that. So I think I disagree that there ever was a Stone Age. There are people today making stone tools. Aren't there cultures around the world today that kind of live what you would call the Stone Age? some of these tribes in places where they don't have, then it takes a while to find the iron ore, to get it out of the ground, to smelt it down, to make an iron tool. Meanwhile, your wife is screaming, hey, where's the firewood for supper? So you get a stone axe, chop down the tree. So I think the whole idea that man was dumb and we're getting smarter is really backwards, really backwards. I don't believe it at all. Convince me I'm wrong. Okay, what else?
Check this one out. I invited him to come in and talk to you about it.
Young earth is also a lie. Well, David, that's a religious statement you're making. I can give you plenty of evidence, but that is absolutely correct. I use the illustration. Here's a Bic ink pen. If I told you this Bic pen was 5,000 years old, you could say, Hovind, it's a ballpoint. The ballpoints weren't invented until 1888. Oh, that one fact proves my claim is wrong, right? Then you could say it's got plastic. It's made of plastic, and plastics weren't invented until 1907. Well, that's another claim that proves another fact that proves my claim wrong. You could say it's made by Bic, and Bic wasn't even a company until 1946. Well, you just got three things, facts that prove my claim of 5,000 years is wrong. You want to claim the earth is billions of years old. I cover on video number 1 all kinds of scientific ways to show this earth cannot be billions of years old. The moon is getting farther away from the earth every day. It's leaving us. Well, that means it used to be closer. Run the math on it. I show all the facts on seminar part 1. 1.2 billion years is the max for the Earth-Moon orbit. 1.2. Why are we telling the kids it's 4.6 billion years old? It's not possible. Forget the Bible, forget everything else. Just the moon is screaming at us, it's not 4.6. Get a new theory. The Earth is spinning, but the Earth is slowing down 1,000th of a second every day. Google leap second. We have a leap second about every year and a half because they have to add a second to the clock because the Earth is slowing down. Well, that means it used to be going faster. Well, that puts a time limit on how old it can be. The oceans are filling in with sediments. The continents are eroding flat. The oceans are getting saltier. Today, they're 3.6% salt. They could have done that in less than 5,000 years. From totally fresh water during Noah's flood to now 3.6% salt water. Okay. Well, if it's billions of years old, why aren't the oceans like the Dead Sea or the Salton Sea or Salt Lake? 30% salt or 35%. There are lots of scientific ways without the Bible to prove the earth is not billions of years old. You may believe what you want, whoever that was, I forgot the name there. Believe whatever you want, and you will believe what you want, okay? And I know you need billions of years to turn your frog to a prince. I completely understand why you guys are frantic over this age of the earth thing. But I'm sorry, you can't have billions of years. Get a theory that does not include billions of years, matches the science, and you'll be more in line, I think. Okay, who else was that just came up? Was that Deborah? Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Thought it was Deborah in Kentucky that, thank you, Deborah. Watching the series is a must. Well, thank you. I agree. I think so too. There's another Deborah in Kentucky. Husband died a few months ago, and we went up there and stayed there on the way to go get the crab. And Deborah, so thank you for watching us and for loving our ministry. I appreciate it. And sorry about the husband. Read Isaiah 57:1. That's a great comfort. If your husband was a Christian and died, Isaiah 57:1 is a great comfort. Oh, my back. Okay. Let's see. What's you got there? What are your beliefs on pre-trib rapture? It's not true. I used to believe it. See, I got my chart behind me, the big one, and here's the smaller version of the same thing. Jesus, or the creation was about 6,000 years ago. Here's the flood 4,400 years ago, 2400 BC. Here's Jesus came. Here we are today, this little yellow stripe. We greatly expanded that yellow stripe up here to represent the 7-year period called the tribulation. There are two totally different events that you got to keep track of: tribulation and wrath. Tribulation is what the world does to us. Jesus said in the book of John, you will have tribulation. Christians are having it all over the world right now. Okay, there's tribulation going on. Christians are being killed right now in Ethiopia. Okay, tribulation is what the world does to us. Wrath is what God does to the world. The Bible says we're not appointed unto wrath. When I was writing my book on the topic and my video series on, post-trib, pre-wrath rapture, people would say, hey, Hovind, what are you doing? God said we're not appointed unto wrath. Yeah, think what you just said. We're not appointed unto what? Wrath. That's not the tribulation. Don't confuse the two. The wrath comes in the day of the Lord. If you read, I got all the verses on here and on the chart about the day of, and in my book. The day of the Lord is 1,000 years long. That's this part down here, the day of the Lord. I chopped out, let's say, 231 feet to make it fit on my chart here. I don't want to have a chart 231 feet long. But this day of the Lord, 1,000 years, is great. Okay, at this scale for the top one. The wrath of God falls in the first almost 3 years. The only evidence I have for that number is Daniel was asked, how long is the temple going to be desolate? Daniel chapter 8, verse 14. Daniel said, how long will the temple be desolate? And he said, 2,300 days. So that goes from the time it's desolated in the middle, past the end of the tribulation, for another 1,040 days, almost 3 years. So there's a time of wrath, which falls in the day of the Lord. There's also a time of great blessing. Most of it's a time of great blessing in the day of the Lord. So I searched it while I was in prison. I had plenty of time. I searched the scripture till my brain hurt. I got it right, Joseph. I think
Yes, sir.
you think so? Yeah, you read that book?
Yes, sir. I read it.
I read it 5 times. I preached at Roland Rasmussen's church in California, Canoga Park. He said, Brother Hovind, would you read my book on the post-trib, pre-wrath rapture? I said, well, I don't believe that, but sure, I'll read the book. And then he took me off to prison. I had the book sent in. I read it 5 times. I searched everything. I realized this whole idea of a pre-trib rapture started in 1830 with a 15-year-old girl that had a dream in Scotland about the pre-trib rapture, and Darby and Schofield ran with it. And many Christians are going to fall away when they get disappointed because they were waiting for the rapture. Oh, it could happen in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye. Soon and very soon, I'm going to see the King. I love the songs. They're not scriptural. We're here for the tribulation. I suspect it's already started. It starts with the 7-year period of tribulation. Starts when they make a treaty to rebuild the temple. Doesn't say when they start building the temple, when they make a treaty. That's in Daniel 9:27. That in the middle of that week, that 7-year period, they break the treaty. At the end of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, Matthew 24, Jesus' disciples said, Lord, when are you coming and what's the sign? Mark 13, Lord, when are you coming and what's the sign? Luke 21, Lord, when are you coming and what's the sign? He talks about the tribulation time in the blue part. Then he talks about the desolation in the green part here. The temple is desolated. I agree. Then he talks about more tribulation, the great tribulation. And then at the end of the passage, he says, guys, I'm coming back after the tribulation when the sun and the moon go dark. When are you coming? What's the sign? After the tribulation when the sun and the moon go dark. I don't know how I missed it for 40 years of my Christian life, but I got it now. Okay? Prove me wrong. We are not here for the wrath of God. We are here for the tribulation. Okay. Go ahead, brother. Next one.
Creation is crying, man.
Crybaby. Any mice?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me guess. We finally got him converted. No?
Well, I'm studying Zen Buddhism. Does that count?
Counts for something to somebody somewhere, but not to me.
Okay. Kent, there's the creationist claim that there was human shoe prints found in a slab with trilobite fossils.
Mm-hmm.
And you've heard this claim, of course, right?
I think many have been found, not just one, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, the one in particular was found in 1968 in Utah. And the trouble with it is that the so-called sandal print is just a mechanical weathering feature called spalling. And it's well explained by erosion. And so, that's evidence given by creationists that humans lived with ancient creatures. And, the other one that's been debunked is the Paluxy. You can go ahead. Yeah, sure.
One at a time. Okay. I don't think that's correct that it's been debunked, but if it is, that's only one, and that still doesn't prove the trilobites lived millions of years ago. You called it ancient creatures. Trilobites are very complex. If this is one of the first creatures to evolve, you got a problem because this thing
wasn't
is way
one of the first creatures.
Okay, when did trilobites live? In your religion of evolution, when did trilobites live?
In the Cambrian, some 500 and so million years ago. But the first life appeared 4 billion years ago.
Your claim is that in the Cambrian,
the first life forms. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, in the Cambrian era, down here 400 million years ago, the trilobites. There they are, trilobites. This is the geologic column, the Bible for the atheist, right here. Okay, got to get this square. Okay, I think it's baloney. I think creatures would be sorted based upon where they live. Do these type of creatures with the hard shells that can roll up? Do they live at the bottom of the ocean now? We just got the world's largest horseshoe crab donated to us. Yeah, I think they live in the ocean.
Yeah, trilobites don't live anymore. They're extinct, but
you're sure of that? How could you possibly know such a thing?
You'd have to show me an example of a currently living, you might show me an isopod or something that lives nowadays, but it's not a trilobite. It doesn't have the same features, the same eyes, and complex eyes and that kind of
really complex eyes. Yeah.
Right.
And if you want to believe, if you believe nobody designed the trilobite with its compound, I think they have 10,000 eyeballs altogether, a compound eye, lenses collecting light for the brain. If you think nobody made that, you're welcome to believe that, but don't call it science. That's a religious belief that something this complex can happen by chance. You can't possibly prove such a thing, can you?
We have a good idea looking at currently living organisms of how the eye probably evolved. We have organisms now that just have light-sensitive cells, and that's their only form of sight.
Now hold it. Right, but think about your logic here. You want to line up living organisms that have from simple to complex eyes, and therefore that proves how they evolved in history. That would fall apart in there. I could line up vehicles like unicycle, bicycle, tricycle, four-wheeler, six-wheeler.
That is a potential path of evolution that we see. It's not. It's not for
science.
certain.
Right. It's not science.
Oh,
it's an imagination. It's a belief.
Looking at current organisms is science, and we can compare it with what's fossilized in the fossil record. I know that's getting off on another topic. Can I bring up, did you have anything more? So the trilobite was in place, and then there was a spalling feature on top that was then interpreted as a sandal print, even though there was no other sandal prints in a line from that point. So it was misinterpreted by creationists.
I don't know that that's true, but even if it's true, it still doesn't have offer any help for evolution. You guys, you want to talk about if that's something being promoted and it's wrong. What about gill slits on the embryo being promoted now for 150 years after it was proven wrong? Are you at all concerned about that? Why are you just concerned about picking on creation and their evidence? We're not asking for ours to be taught in the school system. You guys want to demand that we all pay for your religion to be taught. I think you should be concerned about the faulty evidence you guys use.
Well, I mean, we've addressed certain things like Piltdown Man and Nebraska Man were debunked by scientists, not by creationists. So we are addressing. So scientists are addressing those things. Yeah, go ahead.
Think what you made a dichotomy between scientists and creationists. Are you saying a creationist cannot be a scientist and a scientist cannot be a creationist? Is that your stand?
It depends on the study of science, I would say. So I wouldn't say that a creationist could be a paleontologist, for example, or a biologist or a geneticist. Now,
they're not allowed to be. Are you the one that decides who?
They could be, but they're starting with a faulty premise based on the Bible. So they're already starting with their conclusion and working backwards.
And you are starting with a faulty premise. You're starting with the premise that life can start from non-living material and animals can produce something other than their own kind as offspring.
But the theory of evolution started as a bottom-up collecting of evidence, observations, testing to build a hypothesis and a theory. It wasn't starting with a conclusion like you have from the Bible and then trying to fit evidence to it. Does that make sense?
Was indeed. You've already started with the idea there is no God designing all this. The earth is billions of years old. Life can start from non-living material. Matter can come from nothing. You've already started with all kinds of premises. And you believe by faith that animals can somehow produce something other than their kind. A bacteria, slowly over billions of generations, where nobody could see it, way in the past, turned into a whale. I think there's quite a few differences between a bacteria and a whale. Why would you call that science? Do you believe this chart should be in our public school textbooks? It is, by the way. You think? Get on the other side. I'm breaking my neck here. Do you think this is legitimate science?
That chart is highly simplistic. So I would say teach kids the truth and show them the actual phylogenetic trees that have been prepared.
Okay. The real phylogenetic tree would say
that's a cartoon. That's a cartoon you're showing there so that people can easily understand it.
There are about 20 different kinds of whales. I think we might be able to trace them back to a common ancestor called a whale. Why would you have a line from a whale over to a turtle, and let's see, a kangaroo, and a ladybug.
Well, we know the fossil. We know the fossil ancestors of whales were more land dwelling and possibly freshwater dwelling, like Pakicetus. And we know genetically that the whales are related most closely to the hippo.
One at a time now. You don't know any such thing. You believe that, you teach that, you've been taught that. You don't know that the whale
done
related
genetic
to a
studies. They've done the genetic studies on it.
Well,
Are you
here's where you're missing
discounting
the
that?
whole boat. Let's say a whale and a hippo have 92% similarity in their genetic structure. In your mind, that's proof they're related. In my mind, that's proof they got the same designer. God wrote the code.
That's one piece of evidence. That's one piece of evidence. That
see, you guys get a whole bunch of these
related.
faulty pieces of evidence and think you've got a case when every piece of evidence falls apart under inspection. You don't know that a whale and a hippo are related.
I mean,
maybe they both have.
I called about the the trilobites with the sandal prints and also the Paluxy tracks that creationists put forward.
Quite a few human and dinosaur footprints. But listen, we don't.
They're not human footprints though. They're metatarsal dinosaur prints where the only surviving part of the print is it might look like a footprint, but there's other features in that same formation that show that they're not human footprints. They're not even shaped like footprints. So,
well, listen,
ICR and AIG don't accept those lines of evidence.
Well, that's a good thing I don't work for them. Because I do. I've been there. I've seen them. They're legitimate. And I appreciate your zeal to defend your religion. There's no question. It's like arguing with a Muslim. They have great zeal to defend their religion, okay? Doesn't mean they're right. They're just zealous, that's all. And you are. We don't need to find human and dinosaur footprints.
I put together a pretty good argument, though, you have to admit.
Yeah. Well, what if some dinosaurs are still alive? Doesn't matter if you find the footprints. Did you know?
Well, they are. They're called avian dinosaurs. They're birds.
Birds. Here we go.
They are alive.
You're a bird brain if you believe that. Okay.
But listen, if you're talking about like large dinosaurs, we have no evidence that they still exist on the planet. I mean, you point to Mokola-Mbembe or in the Congo, and that's just folklore. There's no evidence that that's an actual organism. It's just somebody made up a mythological creature, like every culture has made up mythological creatures.
This is folklore right here. Okay, there's no evidence of any animal ever producing babies other than their kind. Why do we have lines drawn between humans and all the different animals connecting them? There's no evidence for that. Every doctor in the world will tell you humans have baby humans. Our guineas just had some chicks hatch out. Guess what? I took a picture. They're guineas.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I mean, we have a couple lines of evidence. We have a couple lines of evidence there, Kent. We have what's called the molecular clock. And so that they can do genetic studies on organisms that currently live. And based on that, they can find similarities and they can find a line in history where those two species intersect and come up with a time period. And it's amazing how close that time period matches the fossil record in radiometric dating. It's really close match.
Now we got 4 different subjects on the table here, okay?
Okay, we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Go ahead.
Well, the radiometric dating, I think is it's obvious it's based on several assumptions, which I've gone over 100 times here. If you wish to believe in that, that's true. What about all the evidences I gave that the Earth cannot be billions of years old? The moon is leaving. The Earth is slowing down. The oceans are getting saltier. The mountains are eroding into the sea. The deltas the biggest delta in the world, at the rate the river's bringing mud out, could have formed in less than 5,000 years. Why isn't the ocean full of mud? Why isn't Niagara Falls eroded clear back to the Atlantic Ocean by now? I go through all this on video number 1. Why don't you guys address that? I know
you and I have talked about each. You and I have talked about each of those topics in some detail in the past.
You have your own YouTube channel?
Yes. Well,
good.
Joseph knows about it, so you can ask Joseph about it. But I've posted those on my channel, our discussions. But thanks for the discussion today, and I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
And Joseph,
anybody else there, Joseph?
Not in the studio.
Okay, questions?
Yeah, we got some questions.
Raw Matt, imagine If we showed kids all the phylogenetic trees, they literally all contradict one another. Ha ha ha. True. You want to arrange them by how they're found as a fossil? Look, I've said it 1,000 times. No fossil would count as evidence for evolution. When you find a fossil trilobite, all you could really prove is it died. You cannot prove this one had any kids at all. You certainly couldn't prove it had different kids. No animal today can produce kids other than their own kind. Why do you think a fossil from the dirt could do it? They want to give magical powers to something they don't have no evidence that this one had any kids that lived or that were different. We don't see any animal today producing offspring other than their same kind. So if you wish to believe that, you believe what you want, but quit calling it science. It's a religion. It's hot with these headphones on. I don't need them when there's nobody on the thing. There. Okay, a couple of more. The Bible talk about putting children through the fire, sacrifice to Molech. Is this connected with Planned Parenthood and abortion? I think so. I think abortion is absolutely evil. I think it's wrong. I think it's murder, plain and simple. Now, I've one debating with somebody a long time ago. I said, do you think a woman should have abortion rights right up until the day it's born? Oh, yeah. So she should be allowed to abort her baby 5 minutes before it's born. Oh, yeah. What about 5 minutes after it's born? What changed? The trip down the birth canal is going to... Is it okay to abort it 5 months after it's born? How about 18 years after it's born? I bet kids would behave a lot better. Mom or dad could say, son, one more time, I'm going to abort you. Huh? Why not? Why don't we abort the father once in a while? Or abort the mother and adopt out the baby? Or let's abort the doctor who's doing the surgery. Yeah. The whole thing is insane when you stop and think, yes, it very much goes back to the sacrificing your children to the god Molech and all that kind of stuff. Baal worship. I think it's evil. Okay, let's see. I've heard of people talking about using glands to self-heal, having to be friends with cats to detect evil. I have heard of some of this stuff also. I don't know how to prove it or disprove it, but there are certainly some animal instincts that are pretty amazing. They know things that, like detecting earthquakes. What's the animal that when they can tell an earthquake coming and they'll, which one? Elephants. Yeah. That's a cool study. You go for it. I got all I can handle with what I'm doing now. I don't have time to start anything else.
What about the self-healing part of that?
Self-healing. I think God gave the body the ability to heal just about everything if you give it the right tools. Like for years, sailors died of scurvy. The British Navy lost 1 million sailors who died of scurvy in, I think, 1700s. They found out, too late for those million, that it was a lack of vitamin C, ascorbic acid, because they couldn't keep fruit fresh out at sea for months. So they started bringing limes on board because they will keep longer, and they called them the limeys. They still didn't know it was vitamin C, but they knew the lime stopped you getting scurvy. I think many, maybe most, maybe even all diseases can be prevented or cured with a vitamin or mineral of some kind. Your body needs the tools to work with. You give it the tools, it can fix itself usually. God said to Adam in the garden, eat the fruit, the vegetables, and the seeds. That's one big component we're missing. Go to Patrick Urish. Can you put up his website? Patrick Urish, Yurish, Urish.ihp, something. He's up in Pennsylvania. He's one of our board members. He's a genius on health and nutrition. He took over Bill Sardi's ministry. Bill Sardi was a friend of mine for 20 years. He was a board member for years here. So go to Patrick Urish. Any questions on health or nutrition, he probably would have the answer. It certainly can't hurt to try vitamins and minerals to fix a problem, can it? Hello? It's worth a try. I mean, if your engine is knocking and you take it to the mechanic and he says, wow, you got a problem here. Here, put these headphones on. You won't hear it. Excuse me. I don't want to fix the noise. I want to fix the cause of the noise. You can say, Doc, I got a headache. Here, take this aspirin. What'll it do? It'll take away the headache. Yeah, but what's causing the headache? We don't know, but we can stop the noise. I'm a little skeptical of the route modern medicine has taken with all, have a pain, take a pill. I think God gave the body the ability to naturally heal just about everything. Okay? Thank you. Questions? The honeydew list are what kept man in the Stone Age. Woman never gave us any time to make the right tools. We just kept using a club and a rock for thousands of years. Could be. Okay. Honeydew list. Mr. Oven, you saved me recently. I want to say thank you. I can't wait to learn more from you. Greg, well, thank you, Greg. I don't save you. Jesus saves you. I just point the way. He's the guy, okay? Go see the Lord. And the Bible is absolutely 100% accurate in every detail. God made the world in 6 days, about 6,000 years ago. Dinosaurs were just big lizards that lived with Adam and Eve. They did not turn into birds. Again, if you wish to believe that, believe what you want, but don't call that science. That's ridiculous, okay? Love your program. I'm an Adventist now. Well, you need to keep reading. You can be a Baptist, okay? My question is about the Sabbath. Should we keep the Sabbath? Tell you what, I've got slides on that one. On this, let's see. Isn't it here? Seminar part 7, questions and answers. I thought it was on. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Okay, hang on. 1 second. Joseph, I think I got 60-some thousand slides now. We need to
No, I gotta upgrade your.
upgrade. You can get all the thumb drive with all my slides for 50 or what, $100?
$100.
Yeah. Call 855 Big Dino. There we go. Adventist. Here's my take on the Sabbath. Okay, I want the truth. Whoever's got it, I'll take it. Let me get up here to Sabbath. No, that's not it. Seminar part 7. I'll clear down here, number 10. Alt DV. 1 second. Is it on this one? Yes, here we go. Usually it's the first and second slide, but I moved it when I did the thing on the Legacy Bible, which is terrible. Okay, my humble, totally correct opinion. But with these hyperlinks, you can just touch Sabbath right here, and it takes you to Sabbath, which happens to be slide number, who cares? 1126. Alt DV, slide number 10. Now I got to go back and do all this again. It's a good thing I never complained, Joseph. Man, what about the Sabbath? Okay. Sabbath, the 7th day of the week, observed from Friday evening to Saturday evening as a day of rest and worship by Jews and some Christians. The Sabbath, from the Hebrew word Shabbat, okay? All of the days of the week are named after pagan gods. Monday is Moon Day, so the Mars, ancient Rome, the 3rd day of the week was named for Mars, the god of war. It's the Vikings' fault. Let's see. Let's look up the names of the days of our week. It doesn't matter. Same with the names of the months, some of them. The heavens were finished, and on the 7th day, God ended his work. This is Genesis chapter 2. God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because from it he rested from all his work which God created and made. 2 different words, created and made. Created from nothing. Made is take the existing material and reform it. Here's things to consider. God rested on the 7th day because he was done. I was out mowing the grass one Sunday afternoon in our church in Illinois. The guy stopped his car, walked over. I shut the tractor off. He said, "I'll never come to your church." I said, "Why not?" He said, "You're working on the Sabbath." I said, "Well, sir, first of all, yesterday was the Sabbath, maybe, if Saturday's the right day. Today's Sunday. And God rested on the 7th because he was done. I ain't done yet. When I'm done, I'm going to go take a break, okay?" Anyway, 2,600 years after God rested on the 7th day, he gave the 10 commandments and said, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy." These are the children of Israel coming out of slavery in Egypt, where they never got a day off. God told Moses to command the children of Israel to honor the Sabbath. Here's some people that try to or claim they keep the Sabbath. There are some Seventh-day Baptists, Seventh-day Adventists, Seventh-day Reform movement, okay? I've never met anybody that keeps the Sabbath. Never met anybody, and you don't either, okay? I'll show you why. These are some of those. Many people and churches today meet or worship on Saturday and think the Bible commands this. Here we go. Moon Day, Sunday, worship the sun. Thor's Day, Woden's Day, Saturn. Saturday is named after the god Saturn, okay? So I think they have pagan, it doesn't matter, but they got pagan origins, okay? We do not know if the Roman pagan calendar we currently use is the same as the original creation week. Our Tuesday could be the 7th day. Then what? Everybody's trying to rest on Saturday. Oops. Do we go on Eastern time or Central time or Mountain time or European time? Where exactly do you start this, okay? Does God require Sabbath keeping? There's got a lot of websites about this, okay? Here we have Galatians chapter 3. The law was our schoolmaster to bring us to Christ. We're no longer under a schoolmaster. The law was given to bring people to Christ, but not to keep us in Christ, okay? He said in Nehemiah chapter 9, "You came down upon Mount Sinai and made known unto them the holy Sabbath." Look at that carefully. "And commanded them precepts, statutes, laws by the hand of Moses." So the Sabbath was revealed to Moses 2,500 years after the creation. If it was something we're supposed to keep from the beginning, why didn't he tell them that? Okay, 2,500 years later, he gave Moses the law on Mount Sinai to keep the Sabbath. So God rested the seventh day. 2,600 years later, he mentioned, it's the next mention of the Sabbath. It's not mentioned at all till Moses got it on Mount Sinai. Now, the Gentiles will keep the Sabbath with the Jews during the 1,000-year reign. Look forward to it. I'd love to have a day off. There's no evidence or scripture of anyone keeping the Sabbath for 2,500 years until it was made known to Moses. He said in Exodus 26, the Lord hath given you the Sabbath, the 6th day, the bread of 2 days, abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. Well, hold it. If you're going to be a Sabbath keeper and go to Sabbath church, you got to go out of your house. How are you going to do that? He said you got to stay in your house. That's why I say I've never met anybody that keeps the Sabbath. I've met people that keep a few parts of it, and they think they're spiritual, and you're not because you don't do what they do, okay? You really keep the Sabbath, you could not go out of your house, okay? They went a Sabbath day's journey. Remember the Sabbath. In it thou shalt not do any work. Watch this. Thou, nor thy son, thy daughter, thy manservant, thy maidservant, the cattle, the stranger. You can't make anybody else work. Well, that means you couldn't use any utilities because you're making somebody work downtown at the power company or the gas company or the water company. Not only can you not work, you can't go out of your house and you can't make anybody else work. Don't use any utilities, okay? So that's going to, I think, cramp their style a little bit. He rested the 7th, and the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Everyone that defiles the Sabbath shall be put to death. Ooh, are they doing that? You really want to keep the Sabbath? You got to kill everybody who doesn't. Okay, breaking the Sabbath was a death penalty. You shall kindle no fire on the Sabbath day. Well, you couldn't cook, couldn't have hot water, couldn't have a furnace, couldn't have any internal combustion engines. Turn the key, start the car, you're kindling a fire. That's why I say I've never met anybody that keeps it. Okay, nobody. Don't start any internal combustion engine or gas heater. Children of Israel, God said, speak to the children of Israel. It's a sign between me and you. He gave a sign to the Jews of circumcision. He gave a sign of keeping the Sabbath. He said they're a peculiar people, and I can verify that. And they are, okay. The Sabbath was for the children of Israel. Children of Israel, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep. It's a sign between me and you. Exodus 31. I'm Norwegian. Children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath. Exodus 31. It's a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. The Sabbath was for the children of Israel. Okay. He said, speak to the elders of Israel. I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I'm the Lord and sanctify them and hallow my Sabbaths. They shall be a sign between me and you. I don't think it could be any more clear. Okay. Now, if you want to pretend to keep it, pretend all you want, but don't claim you're spiritual and I'm not, because, you know. Okay. Secondly, it was for the children of Israel, number 11. Okay. Jesus went out on the Sabbath day through the corn. Well, what's he doing out of his house? And what's he doing working on the Sabbath? Apparently, he understood it better than we do. Okay. Why do you that on the Sabbath, which is not lawful? Okay. What's he doing out of his house and working? The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Mark 33. Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath day, to save life, to kill? Anyway, read Mark chapter 3 and Mark chapter 2, 23. He went outside on the hill. There's no mention of the Sabbath for 4,500 years. There's no mention of it being a day of worship. It was a day of rest, okay? Not a day of worship. The only mention of Sabbath being a day of worship is when we celebrate it with the Jews and all of the Christians in the millennium, okay? It shall come to pass, from one Sabbath to another, all flesh shall worship before me, saith the Lord, Isaiah. Likewise, the people of the land shall worship at the door of the gate before the Lord in the Sabbaths and in the new moons. He spoke in a certain day, God did rest the seventh day from all his work. So let's see. If there's one commandment, he gave in Romans chapter 10, love one another. Let's see, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet. Where's the Sabbath? He left that one out, didn't he? If there be any other commandment, it's briefly commanded in this, love thy neighbor as thyself. He only listed 5. Oh, strange. What good thing shall I do to have eternal life? The rich man said, rich young ruler. If you want to enter into life, keep the commandments. He said, which ones? Jesus said, do no murder, don't commit adultery, don't steal, don't bear false witness, honor thy father and mother, love thy neighbor as thyself. What happened to the Sabbath? Young man said, all these have I kept. I doubt that, but let's assume he did, okay? Jesus said, okay, give away all your money. I ain't gonna do that. Here we have John chapter 20, after the crucifixion. The same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut, the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews. So the disciples began meeting on the first day of the week. On the first day of the week, the disciples came together to break bread. And Paul preached unto them his long speech, okay? On the first day of the week, you bring your tithe, your offering to the Lord. Lay up in store as God has prospered you, 1 Corinthians. The first day of the week. First day of the week, first day of the week, first day of the week. The church began meeting on the first day of the week to commemorate the resurrection. It has nothing to do with the Sabbath. It's to commemorate the resurrection. Hey, Jesus rose from the dead on the first day. Let's get together and have, break bread. On the first day of the week, lay by in store what God prospered you. So the New Testament church met on Sunday to remember the resurrection. It has nothing to do with the Sabbath. But let no man judge you in meat or drink or Sabbath days, Colossians 2. And I know people all the time. We had some here, Joseph, that used to work here.
Yep.
They wanted to have Saturdays their day off. Why? Why try to keep the Sabbath? No, you don't. You go out of your house. You start your car. You use hot water. Anyway, pretend. Centurion of the Cornelius, the centurion of the Italian band. Let's see. And Peter spake all these words. The Holy Ghost fell on them, the Italians. And the Holy Ghost, let's see, God gift. So any man forbid water, let's see, Acts 10, he commanded them to be baptized. And those people who had been circumcised, the Jews, they said, why did you baptize these uncircumcised people? Like that means it makes a difference. What a stupid thing to fight over. Okay? What was God that I could withstand? God granted to the Gentiles repentance. Except you be circumcised after the law of Moses, you cannot be saved, which is baloney, it's not true. So they told, Paul and Barnabas had a argument about this. And they said, Paul and Barnabas and certain others go to Jerusalem with the apostles and elders about the question. Acts 15. So they went to talk to the leaders of the church, said, okay, what do we do about this? What are these new Gentile believers? Do they have to keep all these laws? Okay, let's see. Right here, Acts 15. There rose up certain of the sect of the Pharisees and said, you have to circumcise them and they got to keep the law. Peter rose up, said, God made choice that the Gentiles by my mouth should hear the gospel and believe. God knows the hearts and bear them witness, giving them the Holy Ghost, even as he did to us. Therefore, why are we putting a yoke upon the neck of the disciples, which neither our fathers nor we were able to bear? We couldn't keep it all. Why are we telling them they got to keep it all? My sentence is, we trouble them not, from which among the Gentiles are turned to God. Abstain from pollution of idols, don't worship idols, from fornication, premarital or extramarital sex, and things strangled, and from blood. That's the rules. He didn't mention the Sabbath, Acts 15. Anyway, so I don't fight Christians on that issue. You asked my question, I answered it. I got a book, I might have it right here. Why I'm not a Calvinist. There you go. I didn't write this. Peter Ruckman did. Why I'm not a Seventh-day Adventist. I don't fight them. I've spoken at those churches. I think they love the Lord. I appreciate their zeal, but it's wrong in that one, at least that one area. Okay, Joseph, it's a long time. It's time to quit. Any more? Let's see. A lot of tech, I believe, is from the fallen angel. Richard, that could be. I don't have any way to prove such a thing, but it sounds like there's some crazy things going on with the tech and the microchip and all that kind of stuff. And
100%.
we are an AI. You ought to be a little concerned about AI. Yeah. What if the Antichrist is actually a robot? Completely heartless. Wouldn't have any question, no heart at all to say, okay, execute all those people. They won't take the mark, kill them. Coming.
Last one.
Okay, last one. Okay, skeptic believer. Ask Kent if having a concubine is considered adultery. Why did Solomon have them? We don't know that the concubines he had involved sex. They may have, I don't know. But he had 700 wives. I don't think he's going to have time for much more than those 700. At least one of them's got to be in a good mood when you get home. You would hope. So, yeah, Solomon is not an example of godly. He messed up bad. Somebody told me God let Solomon have 700 wives because he was punishing him. I don't know about that. Don't know. Take it up with God. Don't know. Okay? That's it. Thank you. See you tomorrow night. Call in with more questions. I'll try to answer if I can. Thank you. Talk about that some other time. All right. See you. Bye.